to yet another video from West Texas Bushcraft. Today I figured I would go over the essentials some more and cover one of the other big controversial topics of cordage. There's all different kinds of cordages out there. Some people have a preference of one thing, others have another preference of another, and then yet a third person is going to have a preference of something completely different. So I'll show you some of the various most popular types of cordages out there, and then another type of cordage that's popular in the hammock community. And it's a really stout thing, and I think you'll be really impressed with that last one. But anyway, you definitely want to see all the different kinds of cordages and what they're capable of, and kind of break some of that down and really let you see the guts of some of it. So that way you can make a better decision on what you'd prefer to take out there with you next time you're out in the bush. And just in case you wind up stuck out there for a little while, you want something that's going to work for you. So stay tuned. I'll show you some cordage after these messages. Okay, so here's the most popular types of cord. Apologize for the lighting here. I know it's kind of washing out the color, but color really kind of doesn't matter in this situation. But you got this micro cordage stuff, bank line. This is similar to bank line. This is your paracord, and this is am steel. So we'll kind of just go through all of these here, and I'll show you all the different aspects of each one of these cordages. Now this is all the most popular stuff that I've seen floating around, so we'll go over that because if it's popular, it's going to be readily available. So now this micro cordage, it's lightweight. You get about 125 feet on these little rolls. The roll's fairly expensive. It's about $5 for that little bitty roll, but you can see there is really small braids on that. And you can actually break that down a little bit, but I really kind of use this only in a pinch. I bought it to try out. It was pretty fair, but it's not great. So I don't really recommend that. Bank line seems to be the most popular one that everybody talks about everywhere. Bank line is nothing more than catfish trot line. You find it in the fishing section at Walmart or at Academy or any kind of sporting goods store like that. So there's two different kinds. Now there's probably actually several different kinds, but the two main kinds you'll see is regular and tarred. Now this regular happens to be braided. So there is like 375 feet in this spool. I got this spool for $4. So you really can't beat that. But this stuff is braided, and you can break it down. You can pull the braids apart and you can break it down into individual fibers if you need to for stitching purposes or whatever. But this stuff, the braided stuff, is fairly hard to break down. It's pretty strong. It's about a 175-pound test. So that really is a lot of weight that you can bear on this cord. And if you needed stronger cord, you can simply just cut you a bunch of long pieces of this stuff and just start braiding it together to get yourself a good sturdy rope. So, I mean, that's cheap. There's a whole bunch of it there, and you can toss that whole spool in your pack and you're good to go. Now the tarred bank line, this stuff, I don't really like to carry this stuff a whole lot because it's really hot where I live, so this tar melts. So I always kind of keep the plastic to put it back in. But this one here is this is a twisted setup. You can actually untwist this and get to your fibers and break this down so much easier. And there's 3 strands, and then you can actually take those strands, they're also twisted, and then you can also break that down a little bit further. I don't know if you can see those twists. Now you can see how they're all twisted out. So this is, I would probably go for this, not necessarily tarred, but at least the twisted stuff. It's easy to break down if you're in a bind, and you can get this stuff in 1,000-foot spools for like $11. This was also $4 for the same length as this one. So The bank line's really good. I've been pretty impressed with it. You can also use Mason's line that you can get like Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, and it's essentially the same thing, but you can get it in a brighter color. These were all that Academy had at the time, so I grabbed these. Honestly, if I was going to use some of this stuff, I've used some of this earth tone colored stuff out there, and it's great if you don't want it to be seen, but if you need it to be seen, you're not going to see that stuff sitting out in the grass and in the dirt. This is another cordage I found. It's quite similar to bank line. This is the stuff I showed you in the previous video. I had some of this up in that Altoids tin kit, but this is also braided. This is a little bit stronger than bank line. This is a outer jacket braid around a cord. I don't know if you can see that cord, but yeah, there's a good solid core in there. This, you know, one big fibrous strand. So you can break this down. This is a little bit stronger, and of course orange doesn't really occur naturally in nature unless it's springtime or something like that. So you can see this stuff. This is a pretty decent cordage as well. This is all the popular paracord right here. This is a 650 paracord. The numbers that you see on paracord, like 550, 650, that is referencing its test strength. So I mean, it's capable of 650 pounds or 550 pounds. And this one I wanted to show you the little donut. Pardon me. This is a way I like to store this stuff. It's kind of cumbersome to make. If you'd like to see a video how to put this together, because I mean, you can clamp this onto your pack or whatever, and it doesn't tangle like if you tie it up in a little hank. But if you'd like to see a video on how to do that, email me, put a comment, and I'll show you that. But this right here is 100 feet in this one little small donut. It doesn't weigh much. But moving on, 650 paracord. This is 650 paracord. It is 4 inner strands that are a little bit heavier within a braided jacket. So you can take this apart, and then these inner strands are twisted so you can actually break these down a little bit further, but they have a tendency to fuzz out and makes it really kind of hard to use with thread or anything, but you can get it all the way down to the individual fibers if you needed to. Plus you also have the jacket. So this is a good cord. It's not quite as versatile because of the fewer numbers of strands in the middle, but it's a good cord nonetheless. It's nice and strong, and the 650 doesn't stretch as bad as the 550 does. So showing you the 650, this is the 550 paracord. This has also a braided jacket on the outside, plus it has 7 strands inside that can also be broken down, plus a very small thin strand, which is perfect for sutures or for stitching up, you know, clothing, backpacks, fanny packs, whatever. And then these, the other remaining strands in here, are great for whipping, building shelter, and then you can still use the jacket to tie for a little heavier duty stuff too. So there's your 550 paracord. This stuff stretches pretty bad when you bear weight on it. Sorry, I'm still recovering from being a little bit under the weather, so forgive me there for the coughing. But and all this stuff here is all synthetic material. If it gets wet, you can roll it right back up. It's not going to mildew. It's not really going to rot. The only thing that really rots this kind of stuff is sunlight. And it's got to be in sunlight for days and days and days and days for it to really start to break down, so it's not that bad. The last one I wanted to show you is called Amsteel. This is pretty interesting stuff. This is an 1/8 inch wide Amsteel. This is rated at 1,500 pound breaking strength, and actually from the stories that I've heard and from some of the write-ups I've heard about this stuff, is it may actually be a heck of a lot stronger than that. They said that the machine that they test this stuff with, its breaking machine, the machine basically busted at 1,500 pound draw. So this is really interesting stuff. This is made of Dyneema. They make this in all different sizes. You can get it inch thick, 1/8 inch thick, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. Plus you can also get like 1/16 inch, what they call Zing It. It's the exact same stuff, but it's much smaller scale. This is a hollow braid. You can see here, it's completely hollow. You can open it up. This stuff, unlike the rest of the stuff where you can burn the ends and it just basically is a plastic that'll melt into a nice little ball, this really doesn't work that way. It just kind of, it singes out like hair. So it can be kind of messy. But the best way to finish off these ends is actually to bury it in itself, and because it is a hollow braid, you can do all kinds of neat little tricks with this. I use this stuff to hang my hammock with because this does not stretch. And this hank of this stuff, it's about 1/4 foot, so it doesn't really cost any more than just standard everyday rope. But this here, I have a fixed loop on the end with a lock brummel. It's kind of hard to see on there, but this right here still will hold 1,500 pounds. No knots in this stuff. I can make these loops without knotting it, just simply by pulling it through itself a couple of different ways and then burying at least 3 or 4 inches down into itself. I mean, this is really versatile stuff. It's great to use. You can make all different kinds of things. This is a nice continuous loop that I've made out of it. As you can see here, there's no end to it. You just make a lock brummel and then bury the ends down in there, and I hang my pack with this, sling my water bottle from it, whatever I want to do with it, and it's good and strong. You can even replace your carabiners with that stuff. It's so versatile. I mean, this right here is a nacrobiner or a soft shackle. Some call it, they call it all different kinds of things. It's buried down in there. Go to hammockforums.com, and there are just tons and tons and tons and tons of posts on those forums where you can learn how to make all this stuff, and then whoopee slings that are completely adjustable loops. Really good tools to have in your pack. It doesn't weigh anything, and it's more versatile than paracord as far as different things that you can make out of it and load bearing requirements. But paracord is still just as versatile because of how you can break it apart and use all the different pieces. Bank line, good cheap stuff. You can get 1,000,000 feet of it for a nickel, you know, figuratively speaking. But that's probably the best way to go for budget. And then of course microcord for real small jobs. I wouldn't recommend that for anything large, but it might not be bad to have, especially if you are in a survival situation. You'll be thankful for any kind of cordage that you have. So, what's your favorite cordage? I'm going to have to say, for just general everyday use, I'm really kind of torn between paracord and bank line. Probably lean a little bit more toward paracord just simply because of its versatility, but it's a bit expensive. Bank line's dirt cheap. You can get it anywhere, and lots of it for $5 or less, or even up to $11. Yeah, whatever you want to spend. But you know, like I was telling you though, cordage is really one of the more controversial subjects out there online when it comes to survival or just general camping or anything like that. Everybody's got their own preference. So you figure out what preference is yours, try them out, use them, see what you can do with it, see which one you like best, and heck, you may be like me where you like all the different kinds of cordages, and each one serves its own purpose in my book. So you make your choice. Post some comments, let me know what you think about those choices and what your reason is for the choice that you made. I always like to hear what everybody else has to say about it, because I need ideas too. I'm not the smartest fella in the world, but neither is anybody else, so I'm not alone in that. So until next time, get out there and get dirty.